Utopia. The story starts off by showing flashbacks of the world's disasters from the past, as everything is being destroyed bit by bit, and in the end, all is destroyed and humanity is left with no choice but to abandon the world as they decide to find a new one and survive. Utopia. Unknown voice. Everything will not be the same once again. A new world was built with the inclusion of prevention of all of the disaster. It was a thorny and cruel period for humanity as they struggled to survive and rebuild everything in the new world. It took quite some time, days gone by, then months, and eventually years, but they managed to do it. 10 years later, the scene cut to society in Utopia, the main capital of the current world. There shows that there was no discrimination between race there. Everyone had no worry of unhappiness and insecurity at all. The technology was all automated. It contained high-level scientific works, and everyone was happy with their lives. It was comparable to the perfect paradise. Unknown voice. From the person who lived in the 20th century, this may be the ideal image of the future technology. Utopia. The scene cuts into the main character, Kronia, a high school girl who is living her daily life as a normal student, studying and preparing for college. Kronia, 7 a.m. At her house, such a nice morning. I hope this day will be a great day for me. Hi, Smoothie, such a lovely automatic dog. But I have to go to school now. Tomorrow I gotta have an exam. So excited. Now see ya, Smoothie. Smoothie. Pop, pop. Cornea is an energetic girl with indigo, colored hair and an appearance that attracts everyone's gaze. Right now, she is enjoying her teenage life with her childhood friend, Yuki and Morgiana. Cornea, hi Morgiana and Yuki, how are you doing? Yuki, a shy girl who is the most influential and wealthiest family in the city, but surprisingly, her friends don't know that. Morgiana, a strong and confident girl whose family is a mafia, and apparently she is the next head of the group. They are doing the study session for the college admission exam that will be held the next day. Kuronie, the weather today is pretty nice, isn't it? Morgana said, yeah, today's weather is so nice, but we have to focus on studying, even though this is such a perfect time to take a nap. Yuki, but entrance exams are coming. You need to seriously think about your future, you know? Morgana say, you don't have to remind me about Yuki. Kronia, ha ha ha. One thing that hasn't changed for all these years is your lack of motivation to study, Morgana. Yuki, well, knowing her for all these years does make me wonder how she has passed all the tests until now. Morgana, don't badmouth me like that. I'm also studying too, perhaps at the time when I'm not with you. By the way, I'm already used to other people saying things to me like that now. Yuki, but this time, Morgana, you will have to work super duper hard so we can enter the same university. Morgana, we will still spend time together, whether or not we are in the same university, don't we? Oh, don't make that face, Yuki. Yuki, you always say that, but once we get into university, we won't be able to see each other often again. I will get lonely again. Kronia, don't worry, Yuki. I will drill all of the knowledge into Morgana hates. Morgana, spare me the thought of studying. Kronia, let's stop at a cafe and studying. Shall we? Yuki, yes. Morgana, she is as energetic as ever, huh? The next scene. The scene cuts into the next morning, 9 a.m., when everything seems to be going well, and as they are about to take the test for the desired college. All of a sudden, as if it were a fantastic fantasy novel, the sky turns black and a gigantic hole appears in the sky, covering the whole city. Everybody started going to crazy, and the whole city was put into chaos. There were some investigations happens, but there was no theory that could support the evidence of this incident. But other than that, the whole seems to be no harm as it stayed there without any occurrence for a week. A teacher. The exam will be start in 5 minutes. Please prepare yourself in the examination room. A teacher. The examination is started now. Best of luck to the participants. 1 hour later. Examinee. And the 50th problem should be 7.27. And we are done. Scientific. Boom! Examinees. What was that? Principal Young. The anomaly has been detected in the Utopia. Everyone please stay calm and we will get back to you later. Channel 69420. New Start Broadcasting. New reporter. There is an anomaly detected in Utopia. The sky is turned black and there is a gigantic hole appearing in the sky. Scientists try to investigate what is going on. Everyone should stay in a safe place and wait for the announcement from the government. Principal Young. Announcement. The exam is cancelled due to anomaly detection. Please get out of the examination room and go back home as soon as possible. The current examination score will not be counted. Coronia. Where are you, Morgana? Yuki? Let's go as a group. It will be more safe for us now. Yuki and Morgana. Yeah! Coronia and her friends stay together. They promise to never leave each other if something happens. Another week passed by. When the time reached 12 p.m. on the 7th day after the incident, a loud and unexpected sound was heard across the world, and it was a sound that nobody had ever heard before. Moments later, the sky slowly but menacingly turning from black to red, blood crimson red. Mysterious figures were seen dropping down from the sky as if it was raining. As it reached the ground, it can be seen as a huge egg of some kind. It is so big that if compared to humans, it is twice as tall. The sound was heard the second time. Now the egg-like figures start to crack open, as if things were not already fantasy enough. Inside those eggs are creepy-looking monsters that once they are releasing from their shell, dash towards any living creature inside and devour it, like it was nothing but a snack.
Now, the world is truly in chaos of these unknown creatures. The thing was like the end of the world. The world government assigned military forces with nanotechnological weaponry to face these monsters that kept on coming without an end. Their weapons can damage the monsters and repel them for a bit. But if this keeps going, surely they will be the one getting repelled back. The government then announced a safe zone for humanity to evacuate in. A hidden city underneath the surface of the earth. After Cronia and her friend had encountered an absolute monstrous disasters from the unknown mysterious beast. Cronia, her friend, and other citizens have managed themselves to survive through multiple waves of attacks. Cronia says, "What is happening right now? Now I'm still with Morgiana and Yuki. But how about Smooth, Mom, and Dad? I'm really all worried about them." If no time, the monsters were breaking their way into humanity's last defense. The chance of hope was slim. Knowing that civilization was on the verge of extinction, it was not long until Cronia and her friends looked down and decided to accept their fate. Cronia says, "Looks like this is the end. I just wait to say it one last time. I'm glad that I got to know both of you." Yuki says, "Yeah, me too. I'm so glad we became friends." Morgiana says, "If I knew this would happen, then I would have spent more time with you two." "Goodbye, you two," said Cronia. As they began to close their eyes to the scene that was about to happen, suddenly, some mysterious light was unleashed throughout the sky, granting Cronia and her friends an unbelievably magical boost in power. Cronia, Yuki, and Morgiana are ready for revenge. The unknown voice. Hope is not lost yet. Only if you are brave enough to grasp it. The voice played inside the girl's head. "This is," Morgiana said. "I can feel power surging through my body," Yuki said. "If we have this power, then we will be able to fight against those monsters. We will claim back what those monsters stole from us," Cronia said. "Let's do this, Morgiana, Yuki." "Yes," said by both Yuki and Morgiana. Cronia, Yuki, and Morgiana might have gained a substantial amount of power. However, time is not on their side. The monsters kept emitting themselves from nowhere for a couple of weeks, where Cronia and her friends have found these monsters with no end to it. However, they manage themselves to find a hope that exists in the void of skis. Cronia and her friends incredibly since realized the one and only solution was to destroy the portal void where the monsters were coming from. Thought the democracy between the Utopia nation, everyone decided to launch their final weapon, the rocket launcher. As the story progressed, the time was running short. Unluckily, the worst way yet to come as rocket ship only allowed a few volunteers to attend. In the end, Cronia and her friends launched themselves through the void portal. It was like a whole new dimension once they had reached the other side of the void portal. Their sense of vision and hearing has perished for a short period of time until a circular platform has shown up. A human, like figure who emitted a black aura appeared out of nowhere. "So you've come?" asked the figure. It was like the figure knew that Cronia and her friends will have to choice but to arrive sooner or later. The conversation started between the girls and the figure. The figure says, "The truth lies behind the door. However, words will need to be proven." Later on, the fight between the girls and demons began. It was extremely intense as both sides unleashed their powerful attacks through the usage of aura powers. After both sides shown their power potential, it has finally come to an end. Both sides were on their knees, fighting until their last ounce of energy. However, there was no sudden death. The demon was the losing side. Before the demon's final moment, the demon granted the girls permission to see what's behind the mysterious door before vanishing and turning into ash on its own. As the squeaking door slowly opened, the encounter with bright illusion light and shortly lost their consciousness and blacked out eventually. Waking up in a room they had never witnessed before, in a cold high-tech capsule that keeps them enclosed. The huge anxieties that are surging up to them from the realization of what this place actually is. Around them were hordes of capsules with humans inside. After wandering together for a while, they found a room that seemed to be controlling everything. As they enter, a screen then opens and shows the current view of Utopia, where monsters have nearly taken over humanity. Suddenly, a hologram appears. An old-looking man is seen pointing to a tower in the center of the room. The girls rushed there and were astonished by what they saw. The large computer in the middle of the room clearly shows that the world they lived in was a virtual world, and it was down to keep humanity safe from the real world that is destroyed and turned into an inhabitable planet from countless nuclear wars. Furthermore, they also learned that the capsule they were in was a crypto chamber that protects all of humanity and links them to the virtual world. At the very center, a button appeared with a message, "Cleanse and reset." They knew if they pressed it, everything in Utopia would go back to normal, but reset, the world will restart. They carefully thought about it and then all pressed the reset button, and the screen showed everything disappearing one by one. Monsters, people, building, everything. They knew what would happen if they went back. They would be the ones who would have no modify the world and change the future. Soon, they head back into their capsules, back into the virtual world, with newfound powers, and start rebuilding the world again, creating a paradise that won't destroy again. Yuki says, "Is it possible to make a perfect world?" Kronia said, "I think this is a perfect world." But Kronia tend to realize something. It is impossible to make an actual perfect world. Conversation stops for a minute. Kronia said again, "It will be the void where nothing happens." 50 years later, in a city that resembled the long-lost city of Utopia. It was named Citus, a city full of happiness, stability of societies, and hope. A new age of humanity can be seen blooming and thriving. The advances of technologies and conveniences progressed further than the previous world. The humanity is doing well. Up above the clouds, there lies a hidden sky palace that no normal humans can see. Inside was Kronia and Yuki watching over the world with caution and care. They're happy with what they have created until an abnormality appears in the form of an artificial intelligence that advanced humanity's technology has created. It was named Vanessa, but that's another story for another time. Where genius is, it shall perish.